How's everybody doing today? It is August 13th, and this is NuPath's weekly Unity Forum. This is the day each week that we dedicate to checking in with different members of our NuPath family, staff, and other people connected with the organization one way or another. And I'm very excited today because I have the chance to talk to some family members that are connected to NuPath in ways. And we are, as we've been talking about, it's been the focus of our town halls and our Unity forums. We've been preparing for the reopening of our day programs, and began a week ago Monday, and have been gradually building, accelerating to prepare for and to adapt to increasing numbers of people coming in. And last Friday, we had a chance to talk to some of the staff that were actually in the trenches, doing the hard work every day, doing the cleaning, welcoming people when they arrive, taking their temperatures and so forth, ensuring they're wearing their masks. And I got to say, I know I probably seem biased, but I could not be more proud than I am of the team of staff that are guiding NuPath in the safest way possible to open our programs and to welcome people back. So I thought today it might be good to hear from the point of view of some family members. And before I go any further, I just want to give a big shout out again to Greg, who's behind the scenes, and Riley, who does a lot of the the upfront work of connecting with people and putting things in notes for me. And we were commenting before, we were trying to do a check and making sure that people were where they needed to be before we went live, that it looks a lot easier than what it is, and it does take some effort. And we're looking forward to NuPath Live, which is going to be the new platform. It's going to be a whole new look, and we will be seeing that probably right after Labor Day. That's when we're going to go live with NuPath Live. But today is Unity Forum to talk to some families, and the first guest I'm going to ask Greg to bring on is Sandy Badenas. She is Craig's mother. Craig attends our Westford program. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, thank you for having me, Dan.
I am so happy that you agreed to join us, and you are somebody that is availing yourself of. It sounds like to me that you're staying connected through opening every email.
Yes, I have been. I've been following.
And that says a lot. And you've said you've been watching, and you've been doing all of the and following our forums in the past. And your son Craig has just started back.
Yeah. Yep,
First, what it was like for you from March to now? Did just is everyone healthy and well and safe in your family?
Thank you for asking. We have stayed together as a family and just did all of the guidelines, followed the guidelines of the CDC, kept abreast of what was going on with the governor, and we really stayed in contact of what to do through this whole process, which we thought would be 2 weeks, which now turned into almost 5 months. Mm-hmm. So it really had to take a lot of logistics to manage our son Craig, because he didn't understand what was going on. He went from a full program every day to activities on the weekends, and all of it just shut right down. So that was the struggle, but then not understanding why that was. So maybe we'd go for a drive in the car, or just try and do some activities at home, but it wasn't really the same. And we did what we could to manage through that process. But when I got the phone call, he goes to the Westford location, and I got a phone call from Brian. He had said, we're ready and we're open, and would Craig like to come back? And we were so excited. I had zero trepidation. because I already knew that NuPath was going to be beyond whatever the guidelines were. I'm greeted every day. Everyone, has the masks on. They take the temperatures. The hand sanitizer is right there. They have a whole table that they actually bring outside, and he has to kind of go through the process before he can even get into the door. So once he's happy to go. And today when I picked him up, they said, "Hey, we'd like to do a pizza day on Friday like we used to do. Can we sit outside and have pizza?" And I was just thrilled for him. And part of his routine is starting to come back every day. He gets to get up, go to his program, and things were like they were before. Of course, we don't have transportation yet. That hopefully will be coming in soon. But I am not, when I drop him off, Dan, at the program, I don't even think about it during the day. Like, oh, I hope he's safe. I hope it's not, a crazy situation for him. And it's not. He's very calm. He's sleeping better. I'm a lot happier for him. Yeah, I'm really.
Forgive me, but I think we're having a little bit of difficulty with our sound here. So if you're hearing some feedback or if for a minute there, I didn't know if I was going to be able to speak right away. That is just a wonderful summary. Brian Calman up there in Westford and his team, we interviewed Anna last week. I don't know if you know her, probably maybe not because she's over the Dayhab site, but there's some really extraordinary staff up there, and I know they care so deeply, and it means a lot to me to know that you didn't have any trepidation, because that must have been based on something. Maybe you had felt the reason to trust us through some other.
He's been there 4 years now, and he's a young guy, but he's doing really well. The nursing staff is great. I've had some medical issues with him in the past, and they've handled everything really well there, to the point where I don't even have to come in. They're just informing me. So, that alone is just peace of mind. But then also just what he gets to do for his day program. I remember when I was searching day programs, I went around to a lot of different ones because I wanted something specific for him to be able to go out in the community and do different activities and take walks. And I was surprised at how many just didn't have that level of activity. There was a lot of inside activities, but I wanted more of a balance to be in the community, and your program offered that. So now with the COVID, things changed a little bit, but we're slowly getting back. I see NuPath slowly doing what they can to get them back in the community, or even sitting outside and doing an activity. And I'm happy. He has a place to go every day, and the staff, I feel like he gets really good attention there. You don't have all of your clients back yet, but he's always done very well. He's very comfortable there. Like I said, no trepidation. He's doing well. He's healthy, staying healthy, and I'm grateful. Thank you for your program.
Sandy, thank you so much for saying that. That vote of confidence means a lot to me as the CEO of this organization. But as I'm constantly saying, and part of the whole focus of these Unity forums is really to stay connected to our staff. We didn't know. You said 2 weeks. Didn't know if it was going to be 2 weeks, 4 months. I didn't think it was going to be 4 months, but my fear was, as we went into this, we were thrust into this virtual, sort of arena, and everybody tried to understand new, sort of elements of their job and tried to create this virtual programming from thin air. And as we've heard us say, it's like, building a ship while you're on the ocean. That we were going to become dislocated, that we were going to become fragmented. And so much of, I believe, our success and the kind of motivation, the spirit that staff feel, even in some distant locations, has really been on the values that we hold dear, and one of them being our unity as an organization. And so hearing that you have felt that we've excelled in that area, or that we've continued to deliver on what we say we're going to do, I think just means so much. And I don't know if you've had you said you looked at some other programs, but we are near the beginning of this. One of my deepest commitments was to make sure that we were communicating with our staff and our families. And so, some people don't like the town halls and the forums. They want something that's written so that they could, they say they read it. Although I hate to tell you this, but people don't read their emails. So I don't know if maybe it was maybe there are some people that will, but my feeling is if we could create, I'm a big podcast listener. So I thought if this is something where maybe people will be watching, but they can listen to it if they want. They don't have to catch every one, but it's up to our our YouTube channel. So do you feel that the communication was met your needs, or did you feel like that as much as you wanted to, you could engage, maybe not in every, I mean, it's a lot to sit through.
Yeah, so I can speak on that because I worked with both Joe and Brian over there in Westford. And Joe was really great about calling every week, checking in, seeing how things are going. Is there anything we need? And Brian, at a higher level, was able to assist any needs, any questions that I had. He always follows up. The team over there is, is wonderful, phenomenal. And as far as sending my son over there during the COVID, that's why I said I have no trepidation. I mean, they're on top of things. Things are not falling through the cracks. And, he's happy. And that when I pick him up, I mean, yesterday when I picked him up, he was so calm and relaxed. And that just tells me he's content and happy. And there's no stress for him going back. And, I didn't know how he would act because it had been so long since he had been there, but it was just like riding a bike, really. So
yeah. James said yesterday, or I think it was Tuesday at our farm, he says it was kind of like back to school, that feeling of excitement and enthusiasm. I was whether or not everybody had back to school outfits on.
Yes.
But he was excited when he knew he was coming back then, and even though
he really
it's definitely it's a step in the right direction.
I would just like to encourage parents to, if they're feeling any trepidation about any of this, I would just like to say that the staff is doing an amazing job keeping everybody safe. They really are following the guidelines and above whatever is the requirement. I mean, I don't dare step into the building because that's part of what the regulations are to keep people safe, So I understand that and I have no problem with it, but I love seeing my son go in there because I know that that's a place for him. So, and he's happy to be there.
I've shared along the way that my mother is in assisted living, and then she broke her hip. She was in Leahy, and then she went to rehab, and I had to move her out of that rehab. It was so terrible. And I had to move to another one. And every time I have one of these experiences, I'm just reminded, I think of our families on every level. And I think about the frustration and the sense of powerlessness that comes when you feel like your complaints go unheard, things aren't followed up on, that you can never trust people to be doing what they say. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. And I said it so many times, but it's my deepest desire that when you're connected with NuPath, that's sure, we're gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna be first to say that we're far from perfect. Right. But we're gonna try to follow through with what we say we're gonna do. And then the worst case scenario, if something doesn't go well, there's somebody along the way that will listen to you. And I hope that's your experience, because you deserve to have, an organization that's listening to you,
Absolutely. I'm very happy with the day program. It's really overall, even without the COVID, it's been exceeding my expectations. And what I did to see what he does during the day. And I created an Instagram page for the rest of our family to see what he does. And they're just beyond thrilled to see, oh, he's going to Meals on Wheels today, or they're having a little gathering today. And he gets to walk through the mall with his friends, like, a lot of people enjoy doing. So
you said you use navigating life, right? Yeah. So that's been something that you found that useful, that tool useful?
Absolutely. And I actually share it with my friends who are at other programs, and they're kind of envious, like, wow, you get to see what he does during the day. And I said, yeah, isn't this amazing? This is really wonderful. It's just that other extra layer of, You know, you wonder, what is he doing during the day? Well, here he's walking at a park today, or at a location that I wouldn't have thought to bring him to. He's exploring, you know. So
I said, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I enjoy that because then my whole family gets to see it as well, and they get to enjoy, and it makes them happy actually to see what his life, how great his life is. And in fact, they say he has more of a social day than I have. So,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it's really just the whole program. I'm very satisfied. That's why when it came time to get the phone call to say, you know what, he can come back, I said, super. We're gonna jump right in and go forward.
Well, Sandy, you've just been an absolute delight to talk to. You know, if you want to stay tuned, you're going to hear from the man really that made, in some ways, through his generosity and his donation, made Navigating Life what it is today, and a possibility. Of course, I'm also going to talk to him about how we can figure out what to do with this looming recession. And since he's a money guy, he may know like how to advise us. But you know, it's just been a lot of uncertainty and just not knowing what the state budget's going to be like and all of that. But
I know. I know.
I'm glad that Navigating Life's worked for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. It's been wonderful.
Any suggestions? Anything that you think we should do more of, or that you think that would help other families? And I appreciate you speaking to other families through your testimony here. But
Really, it's just what it is I don't know. It's just a leap of faith that you have to take when you have a child of special needs. You're put in different choices you have to make along the way to assist them. So that's what I'm doing here, but it's also based on what's the background, who are the people that he's interacting with, how is he acting, you know, throughout the day. Am I having a lot of struggles? And no, I'm not. I'm not having those. He's back. I have more struggles because he's bored at home and wants to go
yeah,
back to his program.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so it's working out, and we're working through it. You know, we'll take a little bit, Dan. We'll take a little bit of what we have. And if what we have is, you know, the day program right now, but maybe not the whole program, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
Working
Well,
fine.
Sandy Medenas, you are terrific, and we're glad Craig's back. And I feel like we should just, when this is all over, we should get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah, we do the walks. My husband and I come
So,
to do walks.
but we'll figure out other ways to use your energy and enthusiasm, because
Oh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And all I can say is to the other parents out there, just, you know, you won't be disappointed. I haven't been, and I have high standards as well, you know, to meet the guidelines and for my child. So, yeah.
Thanks so much again for being a part of this. You're great. You'll have to watch it tonight with the whole family on YouTube.
I will.
Do it.
I will. Thank you, Dan.
You're terrific. Thanks so much, Sandy. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay, off to a great start. Apologize for a little bit of that. I don't know if everybody else heard it. The sound was a little off. And Greg, we're going to move on to Phil next. Is that still correct?
Yeah, we have Michelle on deck, but we haven't tested the video yet, so we can move to Phil.
Okay, let's do that. Mr. Bill Carter, will you join me, please? This is the man who's probably one of the more very influential person in so many ways. And you probably haven't seen a lot of these that we've done here, but the first part is with me like saying lots of nice things, embarrassing you, and you know. But I want to start with an image that maybe will embarrass you, just this one. And then we can go on to talk about, get Greg to bring it up. This is when I first sort of really got to know who you were. It was this in 2016.
Wow, there you go. That was a while ago. This is great.
Maybe you're surprised that I can put my finger on it that quickly. That tells you something. Okay, we've seen the check now, $100,000.
There you go.
In 2016, you through connection with Joe Laff, who is our director of asset management and been with us for quite some time. And he's very friendly with you, and his kids friendly with your kids. when I heard that you had made this donation to us, it was more than just this effusive kind of sense of gratitude. And the reason I showed that there is because when you gave us that donation, it changed our whole mindset about what was possible. We went from this organization that, you know, if we made $35,000 on our Taste of Spring in a year, we thought that was great. But I knew that we could do more, and your gift that year kind of catapulted us into a whole different stratosphere as far as what we believed ourselves capable to do. And you have been since then just a faithful supporter of this organization, contributing well over $300,000 to the work that we're doing here. And when I say that we have used every penny in the best possible way that we can, you know that we've grown our walk from those years. From I think we were at 27 or 47, maybe we got it up to 50. To now our goal this past year when it was canceled was 275,000. So we're not the type of organization that's just, you know, looking for you to, you know, give. We're doing for ourselves, and you led us there in some ways. And so much of what we have now as far as our navigating life and everything is due, I believe, into not just the money that made it possible, but your faith in us, or your confidence in us in making that kind of a gift. You and your amazing wife Christine, how's she doing? Is she doing well? I hear she just was.
She's doing great. Yeah, she's been cancer-free for over a year and change now, and she's exercising every day. We just did our 80-mile Pan Mass gig out in Cape Cod last week, and one day 80 miles there to Provincetown and back, and she's putting me to shame. You know, she's working out every day and feeling great, and I think I'm just knock on wood, everything's going great. But thanks for asking.
And John has graduated from Gordon College in the meantime. Remember, I think he was just a freshman or just starting, maybe when yeah, right around there, maybe when we got to know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so congratulations. That's awesome. What was his degree? What's
he's got a degree in history with a minor in museum studies. And I have to say, we've just been so fortunate. Gordon College was great. It was right down the street. We had 3 of his, mentors with us at his graduation party. The head of special services, his academic tutor was there, and the head of the history department that really took John under his wing when he was in high school. But we didn't know if John could even go to school, and they were all there. It was very emotional. I was crying, and John said it was okay, and everything was great. But it was so nice. You see, like, what happens when people care, when people pay attention, because a lot of people get thrown by the wayside, and that's one of the things that's amazing about what you guys do. I mean, you're soup to nuts, and I haven't seen any programs like that as we started thinking through kind of, not just John, he's high functioning. We've got a very supportive family. We're financially fine. But other people don't have the resources. They don't have the structure. They don't have the tutors. They don't have and some have different levels of disabilities that, are capable of different things. So once you're out of school, there's very little to help these adults. And it's an amazing program you guys put together. And right off the bat, I was just blown away.
And now John's going to be looking for work in this economy with the unemployment rate suddenly, whatever, 13 more percent, or maybe even higher, depending on what statistic you look at. But he's got that degree, and no one can ever take that away from him.
That's right.
I love your approach to how you planned for his education, because he lived on campus, didn't he? I mean, you did the whole. You wanted the whole experience, and I think that, when it just demonstrates sometimes the big things come from taking risks, because I'm sure it was a huge risk for you to think about, this is, any kid leaving your home and going off to live on campus. But, for somebody, that's on the spectrum, or that just got, some of these other issues, I'm sure that you had some trepidation from time to time, like, okay.
And
but
there were there were issues. I mean, you get some roommates are better than others, and some take advantage, and not all the projects are easy to do, and you get social, you know, developmental issues that kick in here or there, but that's the real world too, and you can't insulate them from everything. So as a parent, you want to kind of micromanage kind of everything, and you feel horrible when someone says something to them, or there's just instances every day that you kind of live with when you got someone who's on the autism spectrum or Asperger's or any of the adults that people are there, and but John's got a really great kind of self-deprecating attitude about himself and about life in general. And I think you see that the structure that he was missing over the last few months has been the biggest challenge. I think when he's got a structure, he's got a place to go, he's got friends, he's got classes, that was great, and he can work his way through that. When COVID hits and he's got nowhere to go and the jobs aren't there, it's not like he's got the same infrastructure that our other kids have with all their friends and their YouTubes and their video games and the rest of the stuff. And so what you guys are doing to kind of get together with the people again, I mean, it's so important. I mean, more for this demographic than any, because they don't have the same kind of social infrastructure or options, and it's really mentally debilitating for a lot of them. So we've got to find a way to get the kids back in schools, get the adults back in programs like yours, and move on with life in a safe way. Obviously, that's important too. But we're seeing massive, a lot of the other charities I work with, just massive issues from what the quarantining has done. I mean, that's important too. And so there's got to be a way to kind of re-engage with people safely and provide that support and structure, whether it's in the schools or your programs. We've got to find a way to do that in a healthy and safe way. And I'm thrilled you're able to start doing it. It's going to make a huge difference in the lives of these people.
Phil, we often talk about what we call the dignity of risk, and some people might even argue that it's what makes us human. To engage with our world and with life in a way that, yes, there's risks inherent to anything we do. If we step outside and get into a car and drive onto the highway, there's a chance we could be in an accident and die. I mean, or injured. There's always some risk. And in our efforts to protect people to the fullest extent, and also working with a state agency that's extremely risk averse, we've come to believe that in some ways we rob people from the opportunities that is part of the human experience. If we don't let them, have that bad roommate, that, a difficult boss. What does it feel like to, lose hours or lose a job or not know like where you're going to get your next job? This is part of the human life, and I think that's something that I think we're very much in sync of, and I think that seeing how you handle things with your son is very it strikes a chord with me, because it's more and more we're trying to find ways and returning to programs during this time of COVID. Yeah, there's some risk. We're not saying that there's a 100% chance that people are going to be safe, but there wasn't a 100% chance they're going to be safe before,
Right.
So we're trying to move forward with our eyes wide open and do so in a way that keeps people safe. I know you're a busy guy, but some people may not know that you are a former finance guy, and so you probably are a little bit more sort of in tune to sort of the rhythms of the financial markets and what's going on at a higher level that we probably don't always understand. Can you help us think about what, in your opinion, the future looks like for the next year, 18 months? I know we're talking so much about the vaccine as being the thing that's going to kind of, it's going to correct everything, even though we know that it may be many, many months until, that necessary, sort of, minimum threshold of is met, for the number of citizens that have the vaccine, if it's really effective. How do you think the financial markets and how do you think state budgets are going to rebound from this, and how bad do you think it might get before it gets any better?
Yeah, I think, with it, and it's pretty straightforward. The election is the election, and people are political circumstances have overwhelmed any sense of rational thought on either side of the aisle. And I'm not an overly political person. I followed Washington for 27 years in my business, and there aren't many good people on either side of the fence as far as I'm concerned. There are a few, but they all have ulterior motives. And so, they do the best they can within the confines of the system that we've got. But until the election's over, there's just no chance of anybody even thinking objectively or rationally about anything. I mean, the data's there on the deaths and the testing and all the rest. But if you listen to Fox News, you hear one thing. If you hear CNN, you hear the other. And neither one of them is doing anybody a service, because the underlying data is we should have some objective way of measuring what's happening. And when science does matter, but it only matters when what the scientists are saying backs your opinion. So when Bill Gates is the smartest guy in the world until he says, well, the kids have to go back to school, and then he's not so smart anymore. And, when who says this, then they're smart. When they say something else, they're not. And so we've got to get through the election. And then at the end of the day, the two parties really aren't that different. I think you could have a conservative wing on one side with tax cuts and breaks, and you have another side that wants tax increases and more spending and social programs and so on, both of which could be helpful in different ways. But at the end of the day, a lot of it's just talk. I don't think it's going to really factor into actual legislation in any meaningful way. Will there be a difference if Trump wins versus Biden? Sure, but both people want to have the economy coming back. They both want to have jobs. And so I think you got to get through the election. The economy was the best it's ever been anywhere in history 5 months ago, and some things are going to come back and some won't, but most will, I think. Once we get through this, the rest of the world is opening up, and at some point we will too. And I think we'll shop differently. Commercial real estate is going to be hurt because people are going to work at home. They're going to work remotely. But I think state budgets are going to be strained. I mean, that's going to be an issue, and funding is going to be a big issue because we're spending an awful lot of money. And that doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or Democrat. We have had just a massive explosions of deficits. Certainly the previous 8 years were the biggest increase in deficits in history, and now the last 3 have been, the same thing on top of that. And at some point, we've got to pay for that. And that's every country in the world has faced that. And so we're going to have a very difficult period, I think, of economic growth over the next 10 years, regardless of who wins, because someone's got to pay the debt. And politicians don't care because they're elected over a very limited time horizon. They maximize economic growth. But so I worry about it. I worry structurally about jobs. I worry structurally about kind of what long-term growth will be. But it's not a political statement. I think it's hard to see either party really working together in any meaningful way anymore. So, what I say to people, they've got all these things and they hate this person. Get involved one-on-one. Help one person. Forget about all the big picture baloney that everybody's yelling and screaming and ranting and raving about. If you care about, inner city school, work with an inner city school. Do a program. Work with kids. Help people one-on-one. Help programs like yours. That has a real value that all the baloney that's going on in the world that is all misrepresented by both sides of the aisle, you can just do your part. A lot of people have a lot of views and they have a lot of things and then they don't do anything about it. Do something about it. Get involved. Get involved with your kids. Get involved with charities. Get involved with people who are passionately making a difference one-on-one in the world. That's what works. Yelling and screaming and burning this and doing that doesn't do anything for anybody other than just, maybe it gets some votes, maybe it gets some attention, but you feel so much better when you work with people and you help every single person that goes into your group. You're changing their life. If you're one person, think of how many people you've impacted. If one person can impact 100 people like you've done, that's amazing. If we could all help 1 or 2 people in the world, That's an amazing thing. And that's how you do this. You do it bottoms up with a inner city schools charity, NuPath working with, you know, your clientele and the people you're working with. And there's lots of, these are going to need funding. And I just worry that the funding for these programs that have a real impact is going to get pushed aside by all the political baloney that's out there on both sides of the aisle. And I worry about that structurally because the deficits are out of control.
Well, and thank you for sharing that. You're absolutely right. You know, I think about 08, and I still have PTSD from what that recession did to our budgets. You know, trimming 4%, 5% here, the layoffs of the state. So that's really the model that I have to compare it to. It's just thinking about what a difficult time that was, and it may be even worse in some regards. If you know, I mean, they're talking about millions of dollars gap in the state budget. You know, where is that gonna come from? So I mean, really taking these a day at a time and trying to make business decisions that position us in a way where we can, you know, sort of you know, weather the turbulence of something like this, you know, until things are a little bit more solid. And I want to get you at some point in the near future through some Zoom or something meeting to fill you in on where we are with navigating life, because talk about making a difference. You know, we talked about your gift already, but we just at a point where in fact, we still have another organization that had bought into a subscription to it, an annual fee, and they were getting ready to renew. We were just about ready to sign for another large organization, like a really big organization. Things were going, and then COVID hit. And so then I thought, well, you know, that's okay, because this is going to be the tool that's going to get us through COVID. But then there's not a single CEO out there that wants to spend a penny on even, like, you know, a window blind, you know, never mind like something that in many people's minds is a luxury, although I see it as being a necessity for the future because of the way it allows people to manage the virtual spaces. So now we're working with the department and trying to go, you know, like at a bigger scale, but it's very hard to get people to spend money when they're you know, preparing for a downturn, and even though it's something that I think is got just enormous potential, and we work so hard on, you know, it still means people willing to take a chance and see the expenses being worthwhile. So hopefully we'll be able to get you back, you know, for an update. We try to keep you going. Well, I wish you'd give Christine my best.
I will.
Tell her I was asking for, and you, Phil Carter, terrific. We just thank you so much for joining us today. I know that I speak for many of us in the organization that whenever we see you from, you know, one of your resorts, you always give us a great, like, pep talk before our walk. We hope that we're able to do some sort of virtual, you know, something related to that before the end of the year, but we'll have to see. But knowing that you're just truly are the heart and soul of what we do, and you encourage us in a way that's like a coach, really believing in us, you know, and that's what helps us believe in ourselves, or at least it is for me, and that is just priceless, and I can't thank you enough for your role in that. So thanks so much.
You guys are doing the work day in and day out, everybody that's there and fighting through this COVID situation. You know, it'll work its way back, and what you're doing is just, there's nobody doing the stuff that you're doing. And I see it now as I go through John at the next stage. How is he going to get to work? What is he going to do for work? What social elements and activities? I mean, that's what makes your life meaningful as well. And all these things, where are you going to live? Who's going to watch where you're eating or what you're eating, or teaching you how to clean a toilet or wash dishes or cook a meal or do whatever. All these things are providing a meaningful life. And it's just amazing what you do. And you know, we're with you all the way. I'm so proud of how you've grown this business, and it's a passion for you, and it shows in everything you do. So great stuff.
Well, thank you so much. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for being here.
Great. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Okay. I am so long-winded. I'm sorry. I've talked too long. Michelle, are you there to talk to me finally? And this has been a lot of confusion. I apologize for the confusion. Is Michelle there? Hi. Now we just need you to unmute yourself. There should be a little red, you get it? I see you. Michelle's daughter Ellie attends the program here at New Boston Street and has been here for going on 3 years or so. Can we hear you yet? Are you there? I can see you. I can't hear you though.
Yeah, Dan, we're not able to hear Michelle, unfortunately.
So are we not going to be able to hear? Okay. Oh, can you read lips? Well, you can hear me maybe. I just wish I could read lips. I don't know if she can call out on the phone line. No, we're backed up against time, I guess. I'm very sorry, Michelle. I know that you we had started out. Your willingness to join us today is just we're so grateful for it. Maybe we could have you on next week because you are another mother whose daughter is returned to the program here at New Boston Street, and I know that you've had some positive things to say. You read, according to our records, all of our emails, and are very involved in the various opportunities that we've provided. And I'm so sorry we didn't get a chance to talk. It's like, this is the worst ever because I can see you and I can see your lips moving, but we just couldn't hear you. And sometimes these things happen with technology. We had a meeting earlier, kind of a leadership team event this morning that we've always done in person in the past. This is our 11th year of doing a special August session. We call it our Creativity Slam. This is for our leadership team. And we watched this video talking about failures being essential because of what we can learn from them. And that when you're of a creative mind and you're thinking about innovation, as NuPath does, and as our staff are encouraged to do, then chances are, if you never try anything new at all, then you're probably not going to have that many failures. Of course, you'll probably be mediocre and stagnant, you know, in many ways. But the more new things you try, the more new ideas that you're willing to chase, the more fails you're going to have, and that's actually should be seen as a positive sign. And so we appreciate Michelle trying, and you know, and this isn't a fail. We'll learn from it and have you back at a future point in time. Greg, are there any questions that you thought that we should touch on, or that I should have mentioned that I forgot to mention?
No questions, Dan. Thank you.
So guys, we're continuing to move ahead with our reopening. You heard it from Sandy, and you would have heard it from Michelle if she was able to come on. So if you're family out there and you're on the fence, you're not sure, and if you can provide transportation, and I would suggest you give us a try. You know, it'll be some time before we're at capacity, where our new capacity is, but certainly you want to you know, get in while the crowds are a little less. And as I said earlier a few minutes ago, you know, my experience recently with my own frustrations with my mother, and my, you know, the just my feelings of just crazy, because I can't trust people. I can't get anybody to, you know, she was transferred from one rehab to another, and whoever put her into the ambulance to send her threw her cell phone into one of the many bags that were packed. She didn't have her cell phone for like 3 hours. I said, what kind of person does that, you know? And so it makes me just focus again and think about the wonderful staff that NuPath has. And if you're family out there, and if you have confronted issues that have not been resolved, I want you to know that you can. There's people that will listen, and people that will hear, because we want the best, and that is our commitment. So, all right. Well, this is a little bit of an unusual Unity Forum, but I think still a very, very good one. It was great to hear from Phil, and great to get to know Sandy a little bit better. So I am going to sign off, wishing you all a very happy weekend. Please remember to take your mask and use it. use your hand sanitizer, wash your hands, do all the things that you need to do to stay safe so that you can return to us next week, and that we keep COVID out of this organization. So we got this together, guys. And I will talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.